Ken, thank you so much for your willingness to be able to do this today for our church body and for people to really hear your story, your testimony of your summer of 2019. Ken, this has been a crazy summer for you. What in the world happened to you this summer?
What in the world happened? Man, what summer? This summer has just flown by, Zorro. And, May 23rd is when I got the diagnosis of leukemia, AML. And it just seemed to drop out of the air. It was something we didn't ever see coming. No history of that in the family or anything. And so I immediately went into treatment. And I have spent the whole summer in treatment. I've been in chemotherapy for the whole summer. I've only been home for a total of 3 weeks so far this summer, as they've let me go here and there between treatments. And here I am back again doing some more. I've got about 2 months more of chemo treatments. But that is how I've spent my summer. It has been not what I planned, but clearly it's something God planned for us.
Ken, tell me, how did you find out you had this cancer? How did you come to that?
Yeah, it just came on all of a sudden. I had done a lot of traveling in the spring, and I was, busy teaching and just doing life. But a number of weeks before the diagnosis, I just really started getting very fatigued, and I knew something was really wrong. I went to see a dermatologist, of all things, about some skin issues, and the dermatologist ordered some blood work, and it was in the blood work that we noticed, there's a very serious problem that was way beyond skin issues. And so she told me to get admitted immediately, and there went the rest of the summer at that point.
Yeah, because I remember hearing about it. It wasn't like hey, maybe we can make a doctor's appointment. It was like, drop everything, get to the hospital.
Exactly. Yeah, when she saw my blood work too, she just called back and said, go get admitted right now. There was no time to waste. So AML it's an acute form of leukemia. It moves fast. And if we did not act, I would not be as lucid as I am right now. So it's a good thing we did.
So for the people that aren't familiar with this type of cancer, how aggressive is it?
Yeah, it's a blood cancer. It's a fast-moving blood cancer. Basically, it means my marrow is producing cancer cells instead of the regular cells that it's supposed to be producing. And so the treatment also goes into the blood. So all the chemo goes into the blood, and it kills everything. Kills all my blood cells. It doesn't discriminate between the cancer and the healthy cells. It just kills it all. And so what happens is, when I get treatments like I'm getting right now, it wipes out my immune system for a number of weeks until my marrow can kind of come back online and start producing again. And so we have to do multiple rounds of these treatments. We have to kill the marrow multiple times and let it kind of come back to life. And that's the way that they kind of reprogram my marrow. So thank God, the most recent news we got is that I will not need a marrow transplant. And the reason why is just the Lord just graciously gave me some mutations in my DNA, which are favorable for bone marrow regeneration. And so basically, my DNA is going to rebuild my marrow without having to get a transplant. And so all I have to do now is finish my chemo treatments, and that'll probably take me to sometime in October. And that should be it for the intensive treatments.
And Ken, the reason why we want you to be the last testimony today is because I remember sitting in staff meetings and hearing about your diagnosis and what was going on with you, and we were weeping. We were, as a staff, we were crying for you and Lori and for the kids, just so scared and nervous, not knowing what was going on with you and how sudden it was. So the second question I've been asking people is, how did God lead you to this ministry or this? We're not going to ask you that question, but we will ask you the third question is, what in the world has God done through
Yeah.
this, taught you personally?
Right.
How have you seen God just move?
Yeah. Well, it was interesting when I was most recently discharged from the hospital a couple of weeks ago. One of the nurses actually asked me on the way out. He said to me, he said, "Do you ever wonder why this happened to you?" And I was like, "Wow, that was a pretty direct question." And I paused for a minute. I didn't answer him immediately, and I said, I said, the first thing is we all live in a broken world, and the fact is disease and death is something all of us are facing, no matter who you are, whether you're a cancer patient or just a healthy person. We are all facing just the problems that sin brings into the world. And so I said that was the first thought I had for him, and then I said, when I think about the why question, actually, it makes me wonder about the other side. Like, what if we flip this around? Why have I been healthy for 44 years? When in fact I've been exposed to so much sin and disease and brokenness in my life, and I've been blessed with an incredibly healthy life for 44 years, and frankly that's inexplicable. So I am grateful for 44 years of healthy living, and I think all of us should really look at it in that way. And so then, personally, what's been going on in my heart as I just think about this why question, and I didn't go into all of this with that nurse at that point, it leads me to think about, if God brought this into my life this summer, because frankly there's no other way to look at it from my perspective. It was an inexplicable diagnosis that just came out of nowhere. For me, that means God actually orchestrated it. And I don't say that out of anger. I'm not mad at God in any way. I actually say that out of comfort. I'm comforted by the fact that God is the one leading us, that he's the one in control, and that we are going through this with him. He's present with us. And so that has been incredibly comforting. Psalm 23 has been a really, it's a well-known psalm, maybe the most well-known passage in the Bible, right? And it's one that's been very comforting to us at this time. It's his rod and his staff. He's the one at the helm, leading us through this valley of the shadow of death. And frankly, for me, if I know that God is the one orchestrating this, if he's the one leading us through it, well, that means I don't have to have fear. And that's exactly what the psalm says. I will fear no evil, right? I will fear no harm. Why? Because you are with me. You are with me. It's his presence. And that's frankly all we need. God has been present with us. This room has been a sanctuary. It's been a sacred space where we have met with God and are still meeting with God and hearing from him. It's not just a space where we can talk with the medical staff, but it's just a space where God is ministering to us. And so two things for me. I'd say, because God is the one leading us, number one, I don't have to be afraid. But number two, I'm in a listening posture. I'm in a posture of anticipation, because I know God is doing something. He's saying something, and I'm a captive audience. I'm pinned here, and all I can do is listen. And so it's been a really powerful and meaningful time for us. And if I could, Zora, just in a final thought, I just want to thank the body of Christ. I want to thank all of you, my brothers and sisters, who have just been the hands and feet of Christ for us. When I think about God's presence with us during this time, and how God has shown up as provider, and as the present one, he has done it largely through his people. And I just want to thank you for your prayer, for your gift cards, your logistical help, your acts of service. It has been amazing. And my family has been just moved and held up and encouraged in this time. God has spoken and is speaking to my whole family through this. This has been a family journey, and we are experiencing reasons to trust Him more and more through this. And so again, I just want to thank you for your part that you've played in that. That has been huge. I hope to be back with you guys soon. I can't wait to be back, and within a couple of months, I hope to be.
I'm not gonna let you off the hook yet, because you still owe me an elective, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I want you to answer one more question for me, Ken.
Yeah, sure.
So through all this, when I felt like there was just a little hope of you even surviving, honestly, to now where things are looking great, right? The thing I've noticed with you and Lori throughout this entire process, and the kids, was this peace y'all had. Mm-hmm. So there's people out there today, Ken, in our audience or listening or watching this, that kind of feel hopeless, and they're in a work in progress too. What do you have to say to those people, Ken, where they kind of feel hopeless and they just are so unknown of what's happening in the world? What would you have to say to them?
Yeah. Well, God has given us a great sense of peace, and really that has been a gift to not fear at this time. But I would say all of us are in this boat. We are all in the same boat in the sense that we're all terminal. And frankly, we all need to flee to God. We need to just cast our cares on Him. We need to keep our eyes on the one, the shepherd in the front, who actually holds that staff and is our leader. And without that focus and that faith, we are hopeless. And the truth is, Christ has conquered death, and we have nothing to fear. This is part of life. It's part of our whole journey as people in life today. And this is the question that every one of us needs to face, whether we have cancer or not. If we don't have cancer, we might soon. So it's a good idea to prepare and make the most of the time. Don't wait.
Thank you so much, Ken, and I can promise you we'll continue to be praying for you and Lori and the kids. And thank you for taking the time to do this today.
My pleasure. Thanks, Zoro.